In this video, we'll be looking at football mysteries that are still unsolved. What happens to positive drug tests that reportedly disappear from multiple countries and competitions? Positive drug tests don't just get hidden, they literally vanish from existence. We're talking about systematic destruction of evidence, where failed tests get erased from databases, samples get destroyed, and athletes who should be banned keep playing like nothing happened. The Ruslan-Kambalov case shows us exactly how this works. In May 2015, the Russian defender tested positive for dexamethasone, a banned steroid. His sample got code number 3,878,295 inches, the Russian anti-doping system. That should have ended his career. Instead, it started an incredible cover-up operation. Within days, emails were flying between Russian sports ministry officials and lab boss Grigory Rodchenkov. The email asking how to handle Kambalov's positive test got a one-word reply: save. That was code for make this disappear. What happened next sounds like a spy movie. FSB agent Evgeny Blokhin, NETC, the same guy who ran the Sochi Olympics doping program, FSB, showed up at the lab to oversee a urine swap. They opened Kambalov's sealed sample bottle, dumped out his dirty urine, and replaced it with clean urine from a completely different athlete. The clean urine came from Russia's bank of over 10,000 stored samples. They found the closest match to Kambalov's profile, which happened to be from a modern pentathlete. So a football player's failed drug test disappeared and got replaced with a track athlete's clean sample. Kambalov's positive test vanished. The database showed nothing. The sample tested clean. As far as official records were concerned, he never failed a drug test. He was free to keep playing and even got selected for Russia's 2018 World Cup squad. This wasn't some rogue operation by corrupt officials. This was state-sponsored systematic destruction of evidence, ordered by the highest levels of Russian government and sports administration. But Russia was just the most obvious example of something happening worldwide. Multiple sources suggest that positive drug tests disappear regularly across different countries and competitions using various methods. Sometimes samples mysteriously get contaminated in labs, making them untestable. Sometimes paperwork goes missing. Sometimes computer systems crash and lose data. Sometimes samples get accidentally destroyed before analysis. The timing of these accidents is always convenient. They happen right before major tournaments, or when star players are involved, or when results would embarrass powerful people. FIFA knew about the Russian system for 18 months before the 2018 World Cup and did absolutely nothing. They had documentary evidence, email trails, diary entries from whistleblowers, and testimony from lab officials, but they declared there was insufficient evidence to prosecute anyone. Richard Pound, former head of the World Anti-Doping Agency, said the reason was obvious. They have the matter of billions of dollars at stake in having a hassle-free World Cup. When positive drug tests threaten major events or star players, they mysteriously disappear. The financial incentives to cover up doping are enormous, while penalties for getting caught are minimal. WADA investigators found evidence of 155 Russian football doping cases, calling them the tip of the iceberg. They said at least 34 cases had enough evidence for formal disciplinary proceedings. FIFA prosecuted exactly 0 of them. The Russian laboratory, where the Sochi Olympics doping scandal took place, is now a restaurant and bar. Their menu includes a Duchess cocktail, named after the drug cocktail used by Russian athletes. They literally turned their doping corruption into a tourist attraction. Think about how sick that is. They're not even pretending to be ashamed about systematically cheating their way to medals. They're celebrating it and making money from it like it's some kind of achievement. Other countries watched Russia get away with this and learned the lesson. You can make positive drug tests disappear if you're willing to be corrupt enough and have powerful connections. The technology for destroying evidence has only gotten more sophisticated. Digital records can be hacked and altered. Lab equipment can be programmed to show false results. Sample tracking systems can be manipulated to lose samples. Athletes who should be banned for life are still playing because their positive tests were erased. Competitions that should have different winners remain unchanged because the cheaters' evidence was destroyed. Clean athletes have no way to know they're competing against cheaters whose positive tests disappeared. They train honestly, compete fairly, and lose to people who should have been banned years ago. Some estimates suggest thousands of positive drug tests have been made to disappear across multiple sports and countries over the past 2 decades. The athletes involved include World Cup players, Olympic medalists, and major tournament winners. The people responsible for these cover-ups face minimal consequences. Russian sports minister Vitaly Mutko, who oversaw systematic destruction of drug test evidence, was promoted to deputy prime minister. FIFA officials who ignored evidence of doping cover-ups kept their jobs and got raises. Meanwhile, the few whistleblowers who tried to expose these systems faced death threats, exile, and character assassination. Grigory Rodchenkov had to flee Russia and enter witness protection because he revealed how positive drug tests were being destroyed. The message is crystal clear. If you help destroy evidence of doping, you'll be rewarded. If you try to expose the truth, you'll be destroyed. This creates a system where positive drug tests disappearing becomes normalized. Lab officials, sports administrators, and government officials all have incentives to make failed tests vanish rather than enforce the rules. How many current football stars would be banned if all their positive drug tests hadn't been destroyed? How many major tournaments had different winners than the official records show? How many clean athletes lost medals and opportunities to cheaters whose evidence disappeared? We'll never know because the evidence was systematically destroyed by people who prioritized money and politics over sporting integrity. The scale of this corruption is staggering. We're talking about a coordinated international conspiracy involving government officials, sports federations, laboratory directors, and criminal organizations. They've created an entire shadow industry dedicated to making doping evidence disappear. The methods have evolved over time. Early cover-ups were crude, just losing paperwork or claiming samples were damaged. Now they use sophisticated computer systems, fake documentation, and professional money laundering networks to hide their tracks. Laboratory directors who cooperate with these schemes get lucrative contracts and protection from prosecution. Those who refuse find themselves fired, prosecuted, or worse. The system rewards corruption and punishes integrity at every level. What's truly disgusting is how this affects young athletes. Kids growing up in these corrupt systems learn that cheating is normal and expected. They're told that everyone does it, so they have to do it too just to compete. The corruption becomes generational. The financial incentives are obscene. A single World Cup appearance can be worth millions to a player's career. National pride and political legitimacy are at stake for governments. Broadcasters and sponsors have billions invested in clean competitions. Everyone has reasons to make positive tests disappear. Some countries have perfected the art of selective enforcement. They'll prosecute minor athletes or political opponents for doping while protecting their star players and government allies. It's not about fairness, it's about power and control. The testing procedures themselves are often compromised. Sample collectors get bribed, chain of custody gets broken, results get altered before they reach anti-doping agencies. By the time WADA sees anything, it's already been sanitized by multiple layers of corruption. Even when evidence of systematic cover-ups emerges, the punishments are pathetic. Russia got a slap on the wrist and continued competing under different names. FIFA learned nothing and changed nothing. The same people who orchestrated the cover-ups are still in charge of the system. The vanishing drug tests represent one of the biggest conspiracies in sports history. It's about entire institutions being corrupted from top to bottom. And the people responsible are still in charge, still destroying evidence, still making positive tests disappear. Every time you watch a major football tournament, remember that some of those players should probably be banned. Their positive tests vanished into the same black hole that's been swallowing evidence for decades. The beautiful game has been poisoned by people who value winning over truth, and they're getting away with it completely.